don't talk to me, no education, no mates, no this, I just want to win gold, I want to rectify what happened there. So it was quite different for me, but all of my other mates, they were travelling around and really absorbing it in, going to these different countries, which I was there with them as well. Almost.
Good evening, Australia. Welcome to the show, Tough Times TV with Michael Kuzilny. Thank you very much for the pleasure of your company from wherever you're watching. And if you're going through some difficult times tonight, just relax, surrender, and remember tomorrow's going to be a good day. Life comes with 10,000 joys and 10,000 sorrows. We've had so many lovely people on this couch over the last 10 years. I've got a lovely young man, Sam Bramham.
Nailed it.
Uh-huh.
Nailed it.
He's on the couch. He looks like he's a perfectly healthy boy, but he's done so many things in his life which makes you think we can all get through the tough times. Thanks for coming on, Sam.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Now, there's so much about you, Sam. You're 26, but you didn't grow up like, I was going to say, the average child. Tell the audience about your condition.
Yeah, in a snapshot. So I wish I had a more interesting story for you, like a shark attack or a crocodile attack, but I was actually born without my leg. So born without a component, part of my femur. There was no medical conclusion or reason given as to why. There was nothing hereditary. So I just like to jump to my own conclusion that mum and dad just didn't know how to have sex properly and finish the job. So it's their fault naturally for a young kid to blame mum and dad. But yeah, so no, I went, it's different for me being born with a disability. I didn't know what it was like to lose something. So for me, it was like growing up as an able-bodied guy.
You're a very positive young man, but you made the most of it. I mean, you've really, you went to Ivanhoe Grammar and you started swimming, and you made swimming, you got into the Paralympics and won many awards.
Yeah.
Tell us about your swimming achievements.
So swimming, I was always a pretty active young kid, running around the place, and I don't know, I can't even count how many prosthetic legs I destroyed as a young kid, bashing up against the rock pools and the beach. But swimming, not only did it come naturally, but it was recommended to me to get more involved with it from a doctor for another form of rehab, a non-contact sport. So getting involved there and meeting all the other disabled boys and girls was great for me, because it made me realise that I wasn't the only kid with a disability in Australia, that there was other kids with more severe disabilities than my own. So it was pivotal in my development as a young kid, and for an immature kid too. And then to have the competitive element to it too, working out, okay, well, I'm at this level, how do I get to that level? And then working with coaches and staff and those sorts of things to, be able to achieve that goal and eventually get to the Paralympics. Yeah, it was awesome lifestyle.
And the first time you went to the Paralympics, tell us about that. That must have been a big buzz.
Yeah, no, absolute whirlwind.
Where was that? I mean, what year was that, your first one, Sam?
That was 2004, so the Athens Paralympics, so back to where it all started in Greece.
That's when you broke the 100-metre butterfly in the world record.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so I was 16 at the time, so made the team on basically a wild card, and was taken over there just to get experience, just to say, okay, well, you're 16, in 4 years' time you're going to be 20. That's when the Beijing Paralympics are going to be. That's when you're going to make some damage. So just have a paddle here, and I thought, stuff that. This is the Paralympics. I'm not just representing myself. I'm wearing the green and gold. I'm not going to go out there and have a paddle. Anyway, went out there. I remember the first thing that hit me in the face was just the enormity of the crowd, from all different countries, flags, people waving. Mum and Dad were in the crowd, so I waved to them, which was good to see them, and saw the Australian team cheering me on. Absolutely smashed the heat. So as soon as I dived in, it was just race plan, go, go, go. I'm a 100-metre butterfly, so get the arms out on top of the water, undulate through the water, hit the wall, come back nice and fast, and broke the world record.
That's amazing,
in the
mate.
heat.
That is amazing. When you came back after that, those games, there must have been a lot of excited Aussie fans. Yeah,
well, and this is the funny thing. I mean, I went from a national swimmer, and I swam able-bodied swimming. It just gives you a competitive edge. So coming back from the Paralympics, I didn't think there was much of a following. But the best thing about Australia, Aussies just like to see Aussies do well, whether it's male sport, female sport, Paralympics, Olympics. We just like to see Aussies kick ass, really. So to have their support and everything come back was overwhelming.
What happened when you came back? What were some of the highlights that surprised you?
It was an interesting time for me. Coming back from Athens, breaking the world record. So long story short, I broke the world records in the heat and grabbed the bronze in the final. It's nothing to be sneezed at, but my world record still stood. I actually swam slower. So I came back pretty frustrated, not knowing what happened there. So I was just training aggressively, and I didn't really revel in all of that stuff afterwards. I was more going, okay, well, I want to go back to the pool and just cut laps. Don't talk to me, no education, no mates, no this. I just want to win gold. I want to rectify what happened there. So it was quite different for me. But all of my other mates, they were travelling around and really absorbing it in, going to these different countries, which I was there with them as well, all my swimming mates. But because I was just so aggressively focusing on this one thing, I do feel like I missed out on that a bit. But I can still tell you now, it was a whirlwind of excitement.
Amazing. That's a real burning desire to succeed, isn't it? When you said, no, you really concentrated on that, and amazing. And then after that, you came back and went back to school? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I got to about year 10. And I realised, look, I can be as rebellious as I want. I was quite a naughty student, not naughty where we'd break windows on purpose, but we'd definitely like a fruit fight every now and then, or coins to the ground, so teachers would try and pick them up. But it got to the stage where I thought, look, I can't be swimming my whole life. I have to obviously study. Sure. So I actually started off at, once I finished school, started off doing architecture at RMIT. Yeah. Did it for a week, and I thought, shivers, I've wasted, all this time and study, what am I doing? And then swapped into sport marketing over at La Trobe University. Amazing. And tell us what you're doing now. So working in sport consultancy and marketing still. So started off in AFL player management. Didn't like it. I felt like I was looking after little children, so I swapped over to... What were you doing there for AFL management? More like contract negotiations, sponsorship arrangements, social media. Right. And the social media thing was the frustrating bit. I thought, look, I've got my own social media to look after. I didn't go to university to do that. Yeah. So I swapped into something more personable, and that was first stakeholder management at a non-profit organisation, Disability Sport and Rec, who provide and promote positive health outcomes for young disabled Victorians through sport. And then my job went from there to managing a Wheel Talk program, which is like an employment program and a public speaking program. And then from there, now looking after all the health and education components. Amazing. So you certainly put your goals out there and you're following your goals. And what's your advice to some of the people going through some difficult issues who, they might have a disability, or they might be suffering from depression or drug addictions? What's your advice for them to, not to give up, but to follow their goals? My advice is, everyone goes through hard times and whatever it may be, but the mourning period is necessary, I feel. Mourn as much as it takes, as long as it takes, embrace that. Procrastination is another thing. Embrace procrastination, so you can go away, have a break, and come back to something and try again. I think trying to find something that positively motivates you is probably the most effective thing. If you're doing something that you're not enjoying, it's just going to make the process so much harder. For me in my swimming career, I've definitely failed more than I've succeeded, but it's how I learned from my failures that made me a better swimmer rather than the successes. So with that, the world record, breaking in the morning and then not swimming as fast at night, I later found out that the reason why that happened was because I lost focus. I was thinking about a gold medal that I didn't have yet. I became arrogant and incomplacent. So that's a lesson that I learned, luckily at a young age, which I applied later on. So we won't talk about that next phase of your life after the break. But thanks for coming on, and thanks for watching. We'll be back on the couch very shortly with Sam. And thank you very much for tuning in, for the pleasure of your company. We've got the great man, Sam Bramham, on the couch. He was born on the 23rd of May, 88, which makes him 26. And he's a first-class professional. Not only has he received an OAM, but he's a gold, silver and bronze medalist. How many medals have you got? There's so many here, Sam. So there was 5 Paralympic medals. Yeah. So the 2 gold, 2 silver, 1 bronze. And then the World Championship medals, there's probably about 10 or 13 of those. Amazing. Yeah. Blokes your age group must feel very intimidated when you tell them about all your achievements, Well, not really. Or impressed, maybe. Definitely impressed. Your girlfriend's probably impressed, isn't she? Yeah, she better be. She looks impressed. Must be all of that. What do you think? It's the citizenship she's after, maybe? That's what I think she has been doing it for. You guys met at a karaoke show? Yeah, karaoke bar. Who was singing? Well, neither of us. So we actually we had friends that were up on the stage singing along. So we thought it'd be funny to stand back and take the piss because we didn't have the balls to get up there and do it. So yeah, but we can't let her. We can't. We might get her on the third segment and just have a chat to her about her purpose in Australia. Definitely. But look at this, Sam. The Victorian Institute of Sports Hall of Fame, the Australian Institute of Sports Hall of Fame. That's amazing. So when we enter these beautiful buildings, what's there? Is there photos of all your achievements? Not really. It's like your name goes onto a placard, but the best thing, the coolest one that I found, because back then we had the swimming suits. You remember how Thorpe had the big seal suit, and that was an Adidas one. We were sponsored by Speedo, and ours were sort of long arms or legs. Because I take my leg off to swim, mine had to be modified. So I actually put a pair of my modified bathers up at Science Works. That was a cool little display with a couple of my old prosthetic legs.
And have you met the Australian Olympic team? Did you meet Thorpe and all those sort of people? You would have, wouldn't you?
Definitely. So I competed at the Commonwealth Games in 2006, and that was the second time that the able-bodied swimmers were integrated with the athletes with a disability. So yeah, trained with some of the guys that I grew up idolising: Grant Hackett, Ian Thorpe, some really big names, Brooke Hansen.
Amazing. And who's coming back at the moment who went through some difficult times?
Hacky.
That's
he had
right.
some very difficult times.
Yeah. He's coming back strong, isn't he?
Very. And I wrote about that in my book, actually, about these elite athletes that are in part of this bubble. When they do retire, because they've been in this bubble for so long, they come out and they don't know how to assimilate back into a normal life because they've been told what to do and how to do it for their whole life. So he's had a very interesting story.
That is interesting. There's a lot of explosions, isn't it? You've people have it so good, and yeah, that is quite amazing. And talking about difficult times, what about your own tough times? Tell us about those.
The toughest time for me was definitely at the Athens Paralympics. So breaking the world record in the heats, it was an amazing feeling. Coming out going, wow, I was here on a wild card and now I'm the fastest guy in the world at something. And coming out of that, I was told by my head coach to go back to the village, have a sleep. I couldn't sleep, and I was laying on the bed having a fit at how excited I was. Excuse me. So came back in the village that night, went down to the marshalling room, not thinking about anything else. I was just thinking about this gold medal. Got up behind the block, got up, gun went off, dived in, gold medal. How good is this gold medal going to be? Came back, hit the wall, came in third, so bronze medal. It's not a bad achievement, it's a great achievement, but I was looking back up at the results board and I actually swam slower than I did in the morning, and my world record still stood. No one swam faster than it. So I was kind of sitting there going, that's not how it goes. You're supposed to swim faster in the final. I'm supposed to have the gold medal right now. Bronze is great, but blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I got out of the pool and I didn't know what to do. I remember just going to the change rooms, just ripped my leg off, hopped over to the showers, and I thought I was going to vomit, but I just fell over and just started crying. I had no idea what was going on, just all these emotions, these mixed emotions. I was happy, I was sad, I was angry, this, that, and that. And so I remember coming out of that, coming back home, the one focus I had was like, okay, that's not going to happen again. I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again because I'm going to train my ass off. I'm just going to head down and just do it. Whatever I have to do, I'm going to train 14 times a week, not 12. I'm going to do this, I'm going to eat that. I'm going to, everything was just focused on them. Through that, lost a lot of friends because I was putting all my focus into that. Lost out on a lot of social development because I wasn't going to house parties with my mates, sneaking that first beer, which is part of anyone's sort of, youth. And during that time, it was just all of that. And no matter how many countries that I went to or how many world records that I broke after Athens, and this went for the next 2 years, I had this chip on my shoulder about, what happened there in Athens. I can't work it out. And it was a really, really tough time because I remember just feeling really, really alone that whole time, not being able to speak to anyone because, who would understand it? I'm not going to say to one of my mates, when you broke a world record and then you swam slower. It was just so hard for me.
Very determined and very authentic, Sam. That's quite amazing. And when you say you lost friends, you probably didn't lose them. You just
detached.
Detached, yeah. I know what you're saying. You're out of the group. You don't get the phone calls anymore. It's a bit like working as an air host. They're always away. They don't ring anymore. But you've been everywhere: Berlin, USA. Tell us all the countries you've been to with this sport.
Nearly every continent. All this, Southeast Asia, most of them.
Yeah.
South America, Central, North America, all over Europe, pretty much everywhere. South Africa, even. That's the best thing about competitive sport.
Yeah.
That's the real perk of it. You get to go to these countries and you get to have an insight into this country that you wouldn't normally see as a tourist. So you work with people from that country, you learn about their culture, you taste the cooking, you see the sights, all that sort of stuff, and you really do hang back and see what goes behind the scenes. So yeah, the travel stuff, that's the perk
amazing.
itself. Yeah.
So 2004, and then what was the next big event you went on to?
The next big one was the Commonwealth Games, which was awesome. They were here in my hometown, Melbourne.
That's right.
And we did it with all the able-bodied swimmers, Ian Thorpe, Grant Hackett, all those guys. Grant Hackett was the captain of that team.
Right.
So to swim with them, that was amazing. I grew up watching these guys on tally, so to be able to swim with them was great, and to do it in front of my home crowd, even better.
Amazing. And in 2011, you had a bit of a break since then?
Yeah, so then there was Beijing in 2008. I had a break after then to finish my university.
Oh, you went to
course.
Beijing?
Yeah, I did Beijing. So finished up Beijing, retired.
What happened in Beijing?
Well, Beijing was good. It was a gold, silver, and a bronze over there.
A gold?
Yeah, in a relay. So not in my main event. But I swam the fastest time that I ever had. I broke the world record again in the morning, but I swam even faster in the final.
Yeah.
But there were 2 guys faster than me, unfortunately. But I wasn't disappointed with that because that's the best that I could do at the time, and I took something amazing from it. But I had a shoulder injury.
We might talk about that injury after the next break, but isn't that amazing, all those medals, folks? I remember when I was doing cross country at Mount Eliza High School, a little trophy there, you know. I think I came third. We'll be back very shortly with Sam on the couch. Thank you very much for watching on this lovely night. 2 beautiful people. We've got the lovely Michaela on the couch now. Sam, the superstar, and the great lady Michaela, who he met at a karaoke bar recently. How long ago did you meet Michaela?
About a year.
It's about a year and a bit. Actually, it's coming on a year soon. Yeah.
Wow. And what does it feel like to be dating a superstar?
Yeah.
I don't let him know. I don't give him my true opinion. I try to keep him as grounded as possible.
No, we don't.
He is
Yes,
such
we
a
do.
lovely guy and so inspirational. You must eat such healthy food and you must exercise all the time. Yeah?
No, and that's the thing that's incredible is that we actually live a very luxurious lifestyle when it comes to food and doing. Like we have a lot of fun. I wouldn't say we have a bland lifestyle that you would expect from an elite athlete.
Michaela, it's so nice you're here. You're studying criminology.
Yeah, that's it. I'm doing my
and
master's.
in the break we're saying that in South Africa, a lot of hijackings, and it's a very dangerous place. And a few of your friends got attacked over the years.
Yeah, it's been, it adds a dimension that I don't think other communities really have to deal with. I wouldn't expect people from Australia to have to deal with that kind of thing at the frequency that maybe South Africans do. And the sad thing is that I kind of just have to say it's kind of just part of our upbringing there. You kind of have to normalize it in a way, otherwise it does become quite tolling emotionally.
And Michaela, as an upcoming superstar lawyer, now that you're studying criminology, what's your opinion on the Blade Runner case?
Guilty.
Straight up.
Yeah.
It must make you nervous dating an amputee, an athlete.
Well, there have been a couple of parallels drawn there a few times. When I first told my friends and family back at home, got a few Oscar jokes.
And Sam, tell me about New York. You had a great trip in New York. I was there, and some of the bars just turned into a fantastic night, aren't they?
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah.
Tell me about your night there.
Well, we headed out one night just down in Greenwich, but you were saying you enjoyed it as well. We walked past one of this sort of small bar, you wouldn't even tell it was a bar, and there was a promoter out the front, or we thought a promoter anyway. He's like, you guys come in here, have a free drink. We're like, there's the hook, free drink, then stay in there, spend whatever else. We're like, nah, we'll go for dinner, we'll come back. Came back, it was still there. So stuff it, what's there lose, went in there. This guy was awesome. He's like, there's free drinks all night. He's like, I just love Aussies, you're nice people, just chat with us. So we spent like the next 3 nights with this guy and his partner just having a blast. And he was this like well-connected guy with all these nightclubs and bars and restaurants around the area. Had such a nice time with him, so.
That's lovely. So you've known each other for 18 months now?
Just under that. It's coming on a year. Yeah.
Terrific.
It's been an interesting year. Big brother. We've got lots of things going on.
Yeah.
Our dear friend Sam Bramham on Big Brother so I lost my boyfriend for, how long was it?
Month and a half.
Month
He was a Big Brother?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that,
was last season, yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. That was an experience, that's for sure. Different from real life.
How was that experience, bro?
Man, it was like, okay, so you basically put in a house, and it's a smaller house than you think, with almost forced to get along with people who you wouldn't normally hang out with. Yeah. But you do bond friendships. Like, I'm glad that I walked out of there hating no one, making no enemies, and I've made some really close friends out of it too. But far out, you do get tested. You miss family, miss friends, miss home.
And your girlfriend.
How long were you there for?
I was in there for a month and a half.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And it's funny, you'd think that it'd be the phone that you'd miss first, but that goes straight away. Like, it's actually relieving not having your mobile with you, not having your wallet, that sort of stuff. Like, you're completely detached from everything. What's the interesting bit is when you come out, basically I went in there just as me. And you come out and you had all these people that watched the show. So your Instagram's at like 50,000 followers, your Twitter has like 15,000, and your Facebook's at 10,000. It's just, someone will come to you on the street and be like, oh, yeah, I saw you, that guy that did that thing on the show. I'm like, oh, yeah, that was me, right? So it's just weird. You don't know if people sort of recognise you from a past tense. But
so people recognise you from the sporting achievements and from Big Brother?
Not really the sporting. Like the Paralympics, we didn't get much media exposure. Sometimes we do, like, your real sport devotees you do, but yeah, more so from Big Brother, unfortunately.
Wow, so you lost your boyfriend for a while, though?
It was a tough run.
Yeah, and did you go to the final when they interviewed him? Who was who's the host now to Big Brother?
Sonia Kruger.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. You didn't go along to...
No, not to that one. We expected him to stay there a little bit longer, so his mum went up for that one in particular. So we kind of expected him maybe to come out a bit later. But it was probably a good thing that I wasn't there. Probably would have.
He's a good-looking young man. Did a few girls cry?
He's all right. He's all right.
A few girls, did you get jealous watching every night, or you didn't?
The Australian girls were crying when they found out I was related.
Were you tuning in every night, Michaela?
Religiously. His sister moved in with me so that I wasn't too lonely, and we watched it religiously.
Oh, you're such a lovely couple, and it's our immigration laws are quite tough, aren't they? If you wanted to stay. You've got to go through all these different tests, don't you?
Yeah, it's a tough one, and it's one that we've been talking about recently. Something, you hit these bumps in the road, but it's something that we're going to have to overcome. Exactly,
like anything. And what are the plans for the great lady in 5 years?
Now we've decided I'm going to be a lawyer.
Yes, we've decided that tonight.
If I could have my way, and I know my parents would enjoy it, I'd be living here in Australia, Melbourne in particular. I'd be heavily involved in some kind of, maybe something like the federal police or something. I'd love to be involved in investigation, that kind of thing.
Tough girl.
I didn't love that, but again, very difficult to get into, especially when I don't have permanent residency or citizenship.
You'll get in. And Sam, for the great man, what are your plans in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
Mate, hopefully still ticking away in the sports sector. I love what I'm doing there, helping the young kids with disabilities get involved in sport. I was once there, so there's a real personal reason to do it. Hopefully still getting out there speaking, so do a lot of public speaking and travel. I love travel. That's what I want to be doing.
Amazing. And Sam, briefly, visualisation in sport, how important is it?
Extremely. Everything from meditation to visualising your race step by step.
Meditation?
Massive component.
Have you been meditating for a while?
I haven't been, and when I say it's a massive component, I tried. I'm just way too fidgety. I don't have the patience for it. I wish I did, because I can see the value of it. But yeah, visualisation extremely important.
Amazing. So what's the thought process you go through? What do you sort of practice in your mind?
So for mine, there was 2 stages. So I'd go to bed the night before, visualise my race, how I wanted it to play out. And it'd be in control, smooth, undulating, not forced. It was just going to come naturally because I'd trained for it and I had nothing to worry about. Then on the day, I'd be sitting in the marshalling room, and because I'm easily distracted, it'd be the silicon cap over the ears, the goggles on, and just looking down, so I couldn't hear anything else. And I'd just be, again, just thinking about that race, what exactly I have to do, and that just really puts you in a calm state.
Whatever you did, it certainly worked. Thank you so much for coming on the show,
Mate, my
Sam.
pleasure.
Michaela, thanks for joining us as well. You're beautiful, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. And for a beautiful audience, I wish you all the very best. See you next week, and good night. Love and best wishes.